In 2018, 32 national teams headed to Russia for the World Cup. What followed became one of the craziest tournaments in history.
Who've stayed in so far? Pavard! Oh, how about that? Oh, genius!
So in this video, we're gonna see the entire history of the 2018 World Cup. It all kicked off on June 14th for the opening match, Russia versus Saudi Arabia. And right there, everyone saw how insane this tournament would be.
There's another great throw! What a goal that is! Stunning strike from Jayvee!
That stunning goal was just one of 5 they scored against Saudi Arabia. But the match everyone was waiting for was in the next group.
Portugal have played in more World Cups with Cristiano Ronaldo than without.
On one side, Portugal, the reigning UEFA Euro champions. On the other, Spain with Iniesta. Two teams that were serious favorites. But other giants were also chasing the trophy. The defending champions Germany, Brazil with Neymar and Coutinho, France with Griezmann, Belgium with De Bruyne, England and even Messi's Argentina. But only one of them would lift the title. Alright, back to Portugal versus Spain. Most people expected a game with not many goals. But just 2 minutes in...
Ronaldo. Is that a penalty? It is! Cristiano Ronaldo fouled in the penalty area.
So Ronaldo stepped up and buried it. But right after that, the game turned into pure chaos. Diego Costa equalized, Ronaldo scored again, and in the second half, Spain flipped it at 3-2. The Spaniards were heading for the win, until in the 88th minute, Ronaldo got a free kick.
Ronaldo. Oh, genius! Absolute genius!
A goal that made it end in a draw, 1 point each. Then in the next groups, France barely got past Australia, Argentina drew with Iceland, and Brazil drew with Switzerland. Everyone saw that reaching the round of 16 was gonna be harder than expected. However, that was nothing compared to the shock that was about to hit Germany's group.
Germany have won their last 7 opening World Cup matches, scoring 27 goals into the bargain.
The Germans were chasing back-to-back titles, and it felt like no one could stop them. But once the game started, every shot ended up in the keeper's hands. Then out of a sudden, Mexico hit a counter-attack.
Nicely done again. Here goes Hernandez, taking on Boateng. He's got support here from Lozano. Cutting back inside, it's Lozano! It's 1-0 Mexico!
After that, Germany pushed forward, but Ochoa saved everything. So by 1-0, Germany was defeated. Meanwhile, Belgium smashed Panama 3-0, England beat Tunisia, and Japan defeated Colombia. And just like that, round 1 was over. But now, things were about to get serious. So the first team fighting to avoid an early exit was Egypt. They had already lost their opening game, so if they lost to Russia, it was over. But in the second half, Egypt's defense got completely lost, even scoring an own goal. Final score 3-1. So Egypt became the first team to be eliminated. But they weren't alone. In that same group, Saudi Arabia lost and was also eliminated. Now it was time for another team to fight to stay alive, Portugal. After drawing their first match, they had to win their next one against Morocco. And that's when their captain showed up again.
Silva working it short this time, in by Coutinho and in by Ronaldo! He is a sensation!
There was already 4 goals in 2 games for Ronaldo. And Morocco pushed forward, but they were stopped by the keeper Rui Patricio. Final score 1-0. With that, Morocco lost their second game in a row and was eliminated. Meanwhile, Spain faced Iran, and it wasn't easy either, but a goal from Diego Costa gave them a narrow 1-0 victory. Still, nothing was decided in that group. But now, the team that was in real trouble was Argentina. They had drew their first game, so now Messi's team had to beat Croatia. However,
Ricardo steps across at the other end. Oh, that's a gift for Rebic! Now he'll unleash one! Sensational goal! Rakitic, they're going to walk it in!
3-0. Now Messi was just one step away from a group stage elimination. If they just drew the next match, they were out. What would be the biggest humiliation in Messi's career. And while Argentina was struggling, another country that started to feel the pressure was Brazil. After disappointing drawing their debut, they went to face Costa Rica. They had to win, When the match started, every attack kept being stopped by Navas. Time kept ticking, until it reached the 90th minute and 0-0. It was another draw coming, until
Springs eternal for the Brazilians. It's in their figures. They've got it! They've got it! It didn't matter that it's the 90th minute. Brazil have found their goal.
the goal that lifted the pressure off their shoulders. So Neymar added another one, 2-0. And Costa Rica had already lost their first match, so they were eliminated. But if Brazil struggled, a team that needed a win much more was Germany. After their shocking defeat by Mexico, their next opponent was Sweden. But the German nightmare started to get even worse.
Klaassen, Toivonen, can he get it down? He's done it!
The game went into the second half and they were just 45 minutes away from elimination. Until
Werner's cross, dangerous! In! There's the response! Marco Reus!
But one goal wasn't enough, they needed to win. And to make things worse, in the 81st minute, the defender Boateng was sent off. Nothing was going their way, until in the very last minute of stoppage time, Werner was fouled right at the edge of the box. So Toni Kroos was left with the last chance of the game.
The last window of opportunity for Germany to earn a victory here. Kroos will go for it and score! An inspirational moment from Toni Kroos!
Germany took a step toward the round of 16. Now they just had to beat a weak South Korea. Their dream was still alive. After that, in the next group, England and Belgium ran over Panama and Tunisia, sending both teams home. Meanwhile, in Group H, Colombia defeated Poland, so the Polish were also eliminated. But to reach the knockout stage, 7 more still had to go out. In the first group, Uruguay and Russia went head-to-head to decide who would finish on top. So the home team went all in, but Uruguay made it 3-0. Still, they became the first 2 teams to officially enter the round of 16. However, in the next group, things were much more serious. Iran was gonna face Portugal, and the gap between them was just 1 point. That means if Ronaldo's team lost, they were out, simple as that. So Portugal started going all in to score.
And Quaresma goes again. Brilliant from Ricardo Quaresma on his return for Portugal.
It all seemed settled, but in the second half, everything started to fall apart. Ronaldo missed a penalty and Portugal just couldn't hit the target. Until in stoppage time, Iran got a penalty. So the number 10 stepped up and scored. A draw still kept Portugal alive. But just 1 minute later,
It's on by Azmoun, and Portugal look in trouble again. Is this the moment?
Portugal was 1 kick away from being eliminated.
Patricio's off his line and it's into the side netting on the far side of their ground.
Iran lost their chance, so they were eliminated. At the same time, Spain drew with Morocco. So the first round of 16 matchups were starting to take shape. Then in Group C, France and Denmark drew, both securing their spots in the knockout stage. But in the meantime, a country that was prepared to pack their bags was Argentina. If they just drew against Nigeria, they were eliminated. So the match started, and still in the first half, Messi scored the opener. But the celebration didn't last long.
Oh, a yellow card given, and Nigeria will have the opportunity from the penalty spot.
Everything was in the hands of the keeper Armani to save them, but he dived the wrong way. Now Argentina was being eliminated, so the manager threw 3 more attackers on the pitch, but nothing was working. Messi was about to say goodbye to the World Cup, until it reached the 86th minute.
It's important, they need a brilliant ball from somebody. They've got their goal! Argentina lives on! What a moment here!
With a goal from a center back, Argentina won by 2-1 and qualified, setting up a massive clash against France, while Nigeria was eliminated. Right after that, Brazil defeated Serbia and was also qualified for the round of 16. But there was a problem. Brazil finished first, which meant in the knockout stage, they were gonna face the team that finished second in the next group. And if Germany beat South Korea, it would be them finishing second, setting up a direct clash against Brazil. I'm Brazilian, so at that moment I was like this. So against South Korea, Germany went all in to qualify. But even though the Koreans were already eliminated, they played it like it was a final. So Germany kept crashing into the defense. Then the coach made a bold move, 2 more attackers thrown in. But even then, they couldn't score. The desperation kept growing. Hope is the last thing to die. But then, South Korea killed Germany's hope.
Son with it in.
So Germany did the only thing they knew, went all in on the attack. Even Neuer pushed forward. But that would cost them, cause Neuer lost the ball, and with the goal wide open, South Korea easily scored again, 2-0. For the first time ever, Germany was eliminated in the group stage. So instead of Germany, Brazil was gonna face Mexico. Thank you, Koreans. Then in the next group, Belgium beat England to finish on top, while Colombia and Japan also advanced. Out of all teams, 16 were eliminated. But now it was time for the knockout stage. 16 countries, but only 8 would survive this round. And the very first match was already a giant one, France versus Argentina. But what Argentina didn't expect was a 19-year-old ready to terrorize their defense.
Pace is showing here, look at this, from Mbappe's hole back there. Hang on a minute, it's a penalty! It's a penalty for France!
With the penalty awarded, Griezmann stepped up and scored. Argentina weren't giving up, so from outside the box, Di Maria equalized. And as soon as the second half began, the ball fell to Messi, who shot and it was deflected into the back of the net. Argentina were knocking out France, until Lucas Hernandez sent a cross that reached the right back Pavard.
With the oldest squad of those who've stayed in so far. Pavard! Oh, how about that? Glorious!
That left Argentina stunned. So minutes later, Mbappé stepped in and ended the party, scoring the third and the fourth. In stoppage time, they managed to pull one back, but it was already too late. By 4-3, Argentina was eliminated. Now France just needed to wait to see who they were gonna face next, and their opponent was gonna come from another giant match between Portugal and Uruguay.
France lie in wait, Suarez or Ronaldo.
Ronaldo knew they needed a goal, and fast, so he started shooting from everywhere. But just as Portugal began to build momentum, Uruguay struck back with a lightning counter-attack to score. Now Portugal had to fight against the clock. But even with 64% possession, they just couldn't break through Uruguay's defense. Until in the second half, Portugal got a corner.
Kick. Pepe has done it! Well, there's the answer they were looking for!
It looked like a matter of time for Portugal to score another one, until Uruguay's keeper launched a long ball forward and Pepe stepped out of position to try to clear it. But he missed, making it a 3-on-3 situation, and Portugal's number 5 didn't see Cavani behind him. So
Fernandes, 4-on-3 for a moment here. Cavani! Brilliant! And that is simply stunning.
After that, Ronaldo's team tried, but couldn't find an equalizer again. So the referee blew the final whistle.
It's all over! It's Uruguay's night!
On the same day Messi got out, Portugal was eliminated. And just like that, the first quarterfinal match was confirmed, France versus Uruguay. Now the next team fighting for a spot was Spain, and their opponent, the host nation, Russia.
Sale la bandera de España, sale la bandera de Rusia, a punto de saltar las dos selecciones al terreno de juego.
And just 11 minutes in, Spain showed they were there for the trophy.
Asensio pierde cambiado. Asensio, el balón de Marco Asensio. Me gustaría. Me gustaría. Venga, hombre, a ver si se hacen ya.
Now Spain just needed to hold the score, but in the 41st minute, their experienced center back made a rookie mistake.
Oh, cuidado el remate.
Penalti.
Piqué. La pita el árbitro. Chuba, toma carrerilla, pita Kuiper. Gol.
Spain started to feel the pressure, but even with 83% possession, Spain just couldn't score. So the game went into extra time, and then
Final del partido, final de la prórroga. Rusia 1, España 1.
the game was going to penalties. And it was at that moment that the keeper Akinfev became an even bigger hero for Russia.
El golpeo de Coque. Lo paró Akinfeyev. Y ya el golpeo con su pierna izquierda le pega Yago. Fuera, a casa. España eliminada.
Before the tournament even started, Russia were the lowest ranked team in the FIFA rankings. Now they were in the quarterfinals. Spain eliminated. Now the next clash was gonna be between Croatia and Denmark, a game that turned into one of the craziest matches in the entire tournament. Cause in the very first minute, Denmark scored the opener, and in just 3 minutes, Croatia equalized. After that, the game became more balanced, with both keepers saving everything. So it went to extra time, until in the 115th minute,
Rich looking to slide that through. Chance here to win it perhaps. Badal taken down by Jurgensen and cleared away. It has to be a penalty.
Modric had the chance to send Croatia to the quarterfinals.
In the quarterfinals of the World Cup. It's saved by Schmeichel.
It stayed tight and the referee blew the final whistle. Everything was gonna be decided on penalties once again. First up, Denmark's number 10, who missed. Now it all came down to the keeper Schmeichel.
And he saved it as well.
Then Denmark scored, but Croatia finally beat Schmeichel. So Denmark scored again and Modric stepped up to score. Anyone could win, until Denmark missed. Everything came down to Schmeichel to save them once again.
And Schmeichel has saved this one.
But while Schmeichel was doing his job, the next Denmark taker made a terrible shot. Now for the last shot, Schmeichel needed to do another miracle.
Quarterfinals and a tie against the hosts, Russia. And he's done it! Croatia are through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup.
By 3-2 on penalties, Denmark was eliminated. So another quarterfinal clash was set, Croatia versus Russia. Crazy to think that one of them would make it to the semifinals. But after all these surprises, it was time for Brazil to not get eliminated.
Welcome everybody to Samara, to the World Cup match between Brazil and Mexico.
Brazil were the favorites, but Mexico started playing better, until Brazil settled in and began to attack, but Guilherme Ochoa turned into a wall. And when the second half came, Ochoa kept proving he wasn't letting anything through. More penalties seemed on the way, until Neymar dragged the ball, passed it to Willian, and
Clever back heel to Willian, into the area. Willian! Brazil score!
but just one goal wasn't enough. So Neymar pushed forward, and with a touch, Firmino sent it into the net. Brazil advanced to the quarterfinals. Mexico eliminated. Now Brazil was one step closer to the dream of a sixth title, and their opponent was gonna come from a match between Belgium and Japan. Everyone expected Belgium to win easily, but Japan kept blocking every attack, so it went to halftime at 0-0, and when the second half began, Japan shocked everyone.
It's missed by Vertonghen. It's a great chance for Haraguchi. He scores!
No one could believe it, but it was about to get even crazier.
Trying to find room for the shot. Will eventually come in. 2-0. Takashi Inui. What a strike!
2-0. Japan were heading to the quarterfinals. So Belgium's coach made a move, brought on two tall players to go all in on crosses. Then in the 69th minute, the ball drops onto the head of Vertonghen. Everyone expected a cross into the box, but instead the ball sailed over the keeper and dropped into the net. Japan just had a hold on the score, but that tall player who came in showed up.
Found room for the cross for Lady! Fabulous comeback from Belgium.
Now everyone was ready for extra time. Until the very last minute of added time, Japan won a corner. This was their chance to finish it, but it went straight into Courtois' hands. And in that moment, Japan's defense was completely exposed. So Courtois gave it to De Bruyne, who drove forward.
They can't do so for the moment. Lukaku, and here's a winner! Oh, can you believe it?
Belgium made the comeback and Japan was eliminated, locking in another quarterfinal clash, Brazil versus Belgium. But there were still two more spots to be filled for the quarterfinals. So Sweden and Switzerland stepped onto the pitch to fight for a place. Switzerland was slightly more favorite, until Sweden's shot, the Swiss defense tried to clear it, but deflected it into the net. Final score 1-0. For the first time in over 20 years, Sweden was in the quarterfinals. Switzerland eliminated. But before the quarterfinals, there was one more spot to be decided, between England and Colombia. England had one of the strongest squads in the entire tournament. So Kane scored the opener and it felt like just a matter of time for them to win. But then Colombia started to shoot from everywhere, until in stoppage time they won a corner. It was Colombia's last chance.
Está aquí Cuadrado, barra al centro, segundo palo, sale Jerry, gol de Colombia, gol de Colombia, gol de Colombia, gol de Colombia, gol de Colombia.
Now the game went into extra time and nobody could do anything else. Once again, it all came down to penalties. Colombia had a real shot at knocking England out, so Radamel Falcao stepped up and scored. Then one by one, everyone kept scoring, until...
Henderson le pega. ¡Tapó David! ¡Tapó David!
Now if Colombia scored, they would be just one step closer from qualification.
Pierna derecha Mateus Uribe. ¡En el palo! En el palo de pica barra Mateus.
Then Trippier stepped up and smashed it. All level again. Now it was Colombia's turn for the next kick.
Carlos Vaca. Viene Carlos Vaca. Lo atajó. Lo atajó el arquero Pickford.
Now all England had to do was score. So Eric Diaz stepped up and buried it. Colombia fought hard, but they were eliminated. Now, out of all teams, only 8 were left standing. And the first quarterfinal clash was already gonna be between two world champions, France versus Uruguay. France hadn't beat Uruguay in 30 years, but when France got a set piece...
Griezmann, and hunted towards goal and in by Rafael Varane, the defender!
However, it didn't take long for Uruguay to respond. Lloris made a giant save, and while the French keeper was making huge saves, the Uruguayan keeper didn't quite do the same.
Here is Antoine Griezmann. Griezmann to shoot, and it's gone in! An error from Fernando Muslera!
A mistake so bizarre, Griezmann didn't even celebrate it. Final score 2-0. For the first time since 2006, France were back in the semi-finals. Uruguay eliminated. But France's path was gonna be far from easy, cause next they were gonna face the winner of the game between Belgium and Brazil.
For what is going to be Brazil against Belgium.
After the humiliation of 2014, Brazil needed redemption. But there was a problem. Casemiro was suspended with yellow cards. So in his place was Fernandinho, one of the faces of the 7-1 disaster. And in just 13 minutes, he brought that nightmare back.
Flicked onto the near post and they have the lead! And Brazil concede first! Extraordinary!
And no goal. But Brazil wasn't gonna give up. Felipe Coutinho shot from outside the box, Neymar sent wide. Sooner or later, the ball had to go in. Until Belgium hit a counter-attack.
Like a tank. He's done well. De Bruyne. De Bruyne, 2-0! Belgium! What is going on here?
Now Brazil needed to find a way to score twice, but Belgium had Courtois not letting anything through. Until the 73rd minute, Brazil's manager made a change. He brought on number 8, Renato Augusto, a guy who had never played in a World Cup before. But the moment he stepped onto the pitch, he scored from a header. And that's when Renato Augusto showed up again.
In a while.
It was the chance to equalize.
Because here is another chance. Again.
The hope that appeared was fading away, until Neymar got one last chance.
They haven't managed to do it. He did well there. And a great save from Courtois to deny Neymar.
Even with 3 times more shots, they just couldn't find the equalizer. By 2-1, Brazil was eliminated. Belgium was through to the semi-finals. But it was time to find out who was gonna qualify for the next semi-final match. Starting with England versus Sweden.
Welcome to the quarterfinal of the World Cup of 2018. This is Sweden versus England.
England were the favorites, but it was Sweden who had the first shot of the match. However, all it took was one corner from England and everything changed.
And the prolific Englishman can't find the mark. Who's on the end of it? England are on the end of it!
But England wasn't done yet. They kept pushing forward until Dele Alli headed it in to double the lead. For the first time in 28 years, England was through to the semi-finals. But before we go to the semi-finals, there was still one more match to be decided between the host nation and Croatia. No one expected these two teams to be this far. So the match started, and in the 31st minute, the madness began.
But Cherishev's not stopped. Denis Cheryshev! Oh my word! That is quite something!
But Croatia quickly responded with a header. From there, Croatia had more possession, more chances, but couldn't get past Akinfeev. So it went to extra time, where Croatia turned it around, but Russia got one back. With a 2-2 draw, the match went to penalties. So Russia went first.
Smolov! Oh, he tried to think.
If there was an award for the worst penalty ever, that one would win, for sure. After that, Croatia scored and Russia scored as well, until Akinfeev saved. Now it was tied again. And stepping up next was Mario Fernandes, the player who had scored the equalizer for Russia.
Now he must convert one. Fernandes has dragged it horribly wide.
Now Russia's hope was on their keeper to make another save. And stepping up next was Luka Modric. That was it, he was making another save. But...
And he's got lucky! My word, he's got lucky!
A cold shower for Russia. Then everyone kept scoring, so it all came down to the final Croatian penalty.
The Russian carnival. Rakitic! It's Croatia 4-3 on penalties.
With that, the host country was eliminated. Now, out of 32 teams, only 4 were left standing. One of them would lift the biggest trophy in football. For the first time since the Zidane era, France had a chance to go back to the final. But for Belgium, much more was at stake. They had a once-in-a-lifetime generation, so if they didn't win there, they might never get another chance. So they pushed forward.
VAR defending him. Hazard driving in, and Hazard letting fly. That was right in front. Took a deflection out for a corner. And at the near post, took a bounce through. The shot through traffic. What a save! Lloris.
But then France started to find their rhythm. Until 5 minutes into the second half, the French won a corner, and the defender Umtiti entered the box.
City, Antoine Griezmann. The ensuing corner swung in, header on frame. The opening goal. Samuel Umtiti.
Now Belgium had only 39 minutes to score, but France didn't allow any danger and almost extended the lead, only stopped by Courtois. So it happened.
And it is over. Allez les Bleus, all the way to the World Cup final.
For the first time in 12 years, France was back to the World Cup final, while Belgium, with their golden generation, was eliminated. But it was time to find out the other finalists.
As Croatia and England before the World Cup final itself.
England couldn't let this chance slip away, and just 3 minutes in, Dele Alli was fouled right outside the box, so Trippier had a once-in-a-lifetime chance.
Consider striking. It is Kieran Trippier. It is delicious! Glorious England goal!
England started in the best possible way, so they focused on defending, and whenever Croatia shot, it went wide. England was doing it. For the first time since 1966, they were heading to the final. But at the 68th minute...
Rakitic for Vasilko. Aimed in beyond Mandzukic and fired home by Perisic! Croatia's cravings are satisfied, at least for now!
That woke Croatia up, that soon after hit the post. And when England needed to be precise with their shots, they kept sending them wide. So the match went to extra time. It looked like it was going to penalties again. Then in the 109th minute, Croatia tried a cross and the English defense cleared it. It looked like nothing, so much that Mandzukic even dropped his head in disappointment. But then before the ball hit the ground, Perisic headed it back into the box.
Walker got there. So though did Perisic. Mandzukic! Croatia hit the front! Mario Mandzukic pounced!
Out of nowhere, Croatia turned the game around, and the Croatians completely closed down to hold the result. So time passed and the referee blew the final whistle.
And Croatia, for the first time ever, will play in a World Cup final.
By 2-1, England was eliminated. The 2018 World Cup final was set. But before knowing the winner, there was the bronze medal match between Belgium and England, where Belgium won by 2-0 to finish 3rd place. A massive achievement for them, so much so that they returned home welcomed like champions. But now it was time to find out the next World Cup winner.
Here is the planet's ultimate game, the final of the 21st Football World Cup.
France seemed like the favorites, but Croatia started pushing forward. Until in the 16th minute, Griezmann was fouled and everyone went into the box.
Flicked in by Griezmann and flicked on! And France take the lead in the World Cup final!
The guy who had scored the winning goal in the previous match had just scored a known goal. But just when Croatia looked beaten,
Mandzukic can compete with Pogba. Came down for Vida. And then Perisic 1-1! He has screamed that in!
Croatia showed they were there to win, but Perisic's celebration would only last 7 minutes.
In by Griezmann and repelled at the near post by Perisic. The French are screaming handball. He's given a penalty.
Now Croatia's hopes were in the hands of the keeper Subasic, but he jumped the wrong way. Once again, Croatia had to find a way to get past Lloris, until France recovered the ball and Pogba played an incredible pass to send Mbappé running. Croatia's defense was completely disorganized, so Mbappé tried to dribble, the ball fell to Griezmann, who laid it off to Pogba.
Griezmann, Pogba! Pogba! For France! And possibly now the world!
But the young Kylian Mbappé still wanted to make his mark.
Sting away from Mandzukic. Running at Vaselko. Here's Mbappé! Oh my word!
He became the youngest player since Pelé to score in a World Cup final. But just when Croatia seemed completely defeated, Lloris made a mistake, making it 4-2. Now Croatia had just over 20 minutes to score twice, so the coach made 2 substitutions to focus on crosses. But nerves took over. They started shooting wide and miscontrolling the ball. So it reached the 90th minute, and after 5 minutes of added time, the referee blew the final whistle.
It is France! France are the champions of the world!
So what did you think of this video? If you enjoyed it, I think you're gonna like this one too. Thanks for watching and bye!